In this video, we're going to talk about Charles Ponzi, the man who didn't invent the fraud, but made it so famous they named it after him forever. It is the summer of 1920. You are standing outside your office on School Street in Boston. Behind you, a line of people stretches around the block. They have been waiting since before sunrise. They are housewives, factory workers, fishermen, priests, police officers. They are holding their life savings in their hand, and they are begging you to take it. You are 38 years old. You arrived in this country 17 years ago with $2.50 in your pocket. Money you gambled away on the boat before you even reached the shore. You have been to prison twice. You have failed at everything you have ever tried. And right now, in the summer of 1920, you are the most famous man in Boston. They call you the Wizard of Finance. The papers write about you daily. People send you letters from across the country asking to be your agent. You have a chauffeur-driven car, a mansion in Lexington, a diamond tie pin, and a gold-handled cane. You are Sam Bankman-Fried. You are Elizabeth Holmes. You are every financial fraudster who ever convinced the world they had discovered something nobody else had found. Except you came first. You are Charles Ponzi. And this is your story. To understand how you got here, you have to go back to Lugo, Italy. 1882. Your family has a name, one that once meant something. Your mother, Imelda, carries that name like a wound. Her family were aristocrats, connected to the Duchy of Parma. But by the time you are born, the money is long gone and your father is delivering mail. Your mother makes you a promise, or maybe she makes herself one. You are the one who will restore the family name. You are the one who will bring them back to their rightful place. She plants that idea in you like a seed and spends your entire childhood watering it. You go to the University of Rome on your family's last savings. You do not study. You spend it all. The fine clothes, the cafes, the opera, the gambling, the dinners with wealthy friends whose status you borrow like a suit that doesn't fit. When the money runs out, you are broke with no degree and nowhere to go. Your mother scrapes together everything she has left. $200 in cash, a first-class ticket to Boston. You arrive in November 1903 aboard the SS Vancouver. By the time the ship docks, you have gambled away the $200. You step onto the pier in Boston with $2.50. But you have, as you tell a reporter many years later, $1 million in hopes. Those hopes never leave you. Not after the odd jobs. Not after the stealing. Not after Montreal and Banco Zerosi and watching your boss Luigi Zerosi run the exact scheme you will later make famous. Paying old investors with new investors' money serum before packing a bag and fleeing to Mexico. Not after the forged check. Not after 3 years in a Montreal prison. Not after smuggling immigrants across the border and 2 more years in an Atlanta federal penitentiary. Not after any of it. Because your mother told you who you were going to be. And you believed her. Let's break it down. Let's follow the psychology for a second. Because this is what makes Ponzi different from every fraudster who came after him. Bernie Madoff knew he was running a fraud. Sam Bankman-Fried knew the money wasn't there. Most con men know exactly what they are doing. Ponzi appears to have genuinely believed he would find a way out. His own publicist called him a financial idiot who could barely add. And here is the proof. Over the course of his entire scheme, Charles Ponzi purchased exactly $3 worth of the international reply coupons he told investors he was trading. $1 in Spain, $1 in Italy, $1 in France. He owed his investors $20 million. He bought $3 of the product he was selling. That gap between $3 and $20 million is the entire story of Charles Ponzi. It is 1919. You are 37 years old. You are sitting in a small rented office at 27 School Street in Boston. You are trying to launch a trade magazine called The Trader's Guide. It is failing. No advertising, no content, no money. Then a letter arrives from Spain, and inside it, something you have never seen before, an international reply coupon. You hold it in your hand and feel your whole life has led you to this moment. Here is what you see. World War I has just ended. European currencies have been destroyed by the war. But these postal reply coupons, introduced in 1906 to allow people to prepay postage across international borders, are redeemable at a fixed rate set before the war. That means you can buy these coupons in Europe with devastated currency and redeem them in America at the old higher rate. Buy cheap, sell high, profit from the gap. It is arbitrage, it is legal, it is real. The only problem, and it is a very large problem, is that you cannot actually turn postal stamps back into dollars. And the coupons themselves are nearly impossible to move in the quantities you would need. and there are not enough of them in the entire world to support the kind of operation you are imagining. But you do not focus on those details. You focus on the idea. The idea is good. The idea will work. You just need time and capital to execute it. So you go to the banks. They laugh at you. So you go directly to the people. If blood currency is making you see money differently, hit subscribe. We follow it so you don't have to. Let's break it down. Before we follow the money, let's understand the mechanism. Because this is the engine of every Ponzi scheme that came after him, including Bernie Madoff's $65 billion operation. Here is how it works. You promise investors a 50% return in 45 days, or double their money in 90. They give you $100, you put it aside. When their 45 days is up, you give them $150, taken from a new investor who just handed you their money. That new investor tells 3 friends. Those friends tell 10 more. The money flows in faster than it flows out. As long as more money comes in than goes out, the whole thing runs perfectly. The problem is it requires infinite new investors, and there are not infinite people on Earth. Every Ponzi scheme in history has ended the same way, when the new money stops coming in faster than the old money needs to go out. It is not a question of if, it is a question of when. In Ponzi's case, the answer was about 8 months, January 1920. You name your new company the Securities Exchange Company. In the first month, you bring in $1,700 from 18 investors in your neighborhood. You pay them back with interest on time. They tell their friends. By March, you are bringing in $30,000 a week. By June, $2.5 million in a single month. In today's money, that is roughly $40 million. By July, you are approaching $1 million a day. The lines outside your school street office stretch around the block. People wait for hours. You hire agents across New England and pay them generous commissions. You open branch offices. You serve coffee and donuts to the people waiting in line so they stay calm and comfortable and ready to hand you everything they have. You buy the Hanover Trust Bank, the same bank whose president threw you out of his office months earlier when you applied for a loan. You ride to work in a locomobile, the American equivalent of a Rolls-Royce. You wear the finest clothes, the diamond tie pin, the gold-handled cane. You are the living proof of the dream your mother gave you. Your wife Rose does not care about any of it. She wanted a small house and a simple life. She returns the expensive gifts you buy her to the stores. She tells a reporter that she would rather you were a bricklayer working 8 hours a day who came home undisturbed. You love her completely and you transfer every dream you inherited from your mother onto her. The mansion, the servants, the furs. And she accepts your love while rejecting everything that comes with it. You could leave at any point. You have 2 tickets to Italy already purchased. You carry a certificate of deposit for $1 million in your suit pocket. You could take Rose and your mother and go. You don't go. You don't think you need to. You believe you are going to find a way to make it all real. Let's break it down. Let's follow exactly where the money went. Because unlike most financial frauds, Ponzi was not primarily lining his own pockets. The total amount that passed through the Securities Exchange Company was around $15 million. Of that, roughly $7.5 million was paid back to early investors as promised returns. About $3.5 million was lost through poor investments. Around $1 million went to operating costs and agent commissions. And yes, some went to the mansion and the car and the clothes. But here is the remarkable thing. When the auditors finally tallied the damage, the total shortfall was around $7 million. For a scheme that ran at nearly $1 million a day at its peak, $7 million is a relatively small personal extraction. Ponzi was not primarily stealing for himself. He was primarily paying the people who came before, which is exactly what makes a Ponzi scheme so hard to stop, because the early investors get paid and tell everyone, and by the time it collapses, the money is already gone. It is July 1920. The Boston Post starts asking questions. Richard Grozier, the editor, is convinced you are a fraud. He brings in Clarence Barron, the founder of Barron's Financial and the Wall Street Journal, to run the mathematics. Barron calculates that to deliver the returns you are promising, you would need to have purchased 160 million international reply coupons. There are 27,000 of them in circulation in the entire world. The article runs on the front page. You threaten to sue. You call the reporters liars. You walk out to the line of investors every morning in your finest suit and you serve them coffee and donuts and you tell them everything is fine. And then you make your fatal mistake. You hire a publicist. His name is William McMasters. He has access to your records. He spends 2 weeks looking at them. Then he calls the Boston Post. His front page story is headlined, declares Ponzi is now hopelessly insolvent. He writes, "Ponzi is a financial idiot. He can hardly even add. He sits with his feet on the desk smoking expensive cigars in a diamond holder and talking complete gibberish about postal coupons." The final blow comes when the Post sends a reporter to Montreal who finds your prison record. Your mugshot runs on the front page. The man who promised to double investors' money in 90 days has spent 5 years in 2 prisons for fraud and smuggling. Rose, who already knew about the prison sentences from a letter your mother had written her before the wedding, is not surprised. She tells reporters she loves you more than ever. The auditors declare you insolvent. The bank you own is seized before you can access the vault. On August 13th, 1920, Friday the 13th, you turn yourself in. 6 banks collapse in the aftermath. Tens of thousands of people lose their savings. The investors who stayed until the end recover 37.5 cents on the dollar. Many who had borrowed money to invest lose everything. You plead guilty to federal mail fraud. 5 years in Plymouth County Jail. You defend yourself in 2 state trials that follow and win both of them. The third time, the prosecutors are better prepared. 7 to 9 years. You post bail on the state conviction and immediately flee to Florida, where you launch the Charles Land Syndicate, selling worthless swampland to investors at returns of 200% in 60 days. You are arrested, you escape. You board a ship to Italy disguised as a sailor. You cannot keep quiet. You reveal your identity to a fellow crewman and the story spreads through the ship. You are arrested in New Orleans when the ship docks. 7 more years in prison. Released in 1934 and deported to Italy. Rose stays in Boston. She divorces you 2 years later. She says she still loves you but cannot remain your wife, knowing they will never be reunited. You write her letters until the day you die. Neither of you ever marries again. You end up in Brazil running a small rooming house, dreaming of new schemes that nobody wants. In 1949, you die in a charity hospital in Rio de Janeiro. Blind, partially paralyzed, penniless. The New York Times writes that it was almost possible, though not quite, to believe that you were as credulous as your victims and deceived yourself as much as them. Your mother wanted you to restore the family name. The name Ponzi is now the most infamous word in the history of financial fraud. It has been used to describe $65 billion schemes. It will be used to describe schemes that haven't happened yet. It will outlast every building on School Street. It will outlast the city of Boston itself. She wanted you to make the name mean something. You did. Here's what stays with me about Charles Ponzi. He is not the cold, calculating criminal we expect. He is something more dangerous. A man whose self-belief was so total and so absolute that it operated as its own form of insanity. He genuinely thought he would find a way to make it real. He thought he was smarter than the mathematics. He thought the same thing after Florida, after the ship, after Brazil. He never stopped believing. That belief destroyed everyone around him and gave history its most durable synonym for fraud. The international reply coupon idea was real. The arbitrage was real. The opportunity was real. He just needed to start small, build slowly, execute carefully. Instead, he promised the world, bought $3 of coupons, and hoped the math would sort itself out. It never does. What do you think? Was Charles Ponzi a criminal, a fool, or something in between?